A Boys Get Paid and Waikato Racing Club production. It's the SkyCity Hamilton Waikato Cup preview show presented by SkyCity Hamilton.
Welcome in, SkyCity Hamilton. Louis Herman-Watt Andrew Butch Castles, George Simon doing the introducing. Oh, this is a special occasion. We don't usually do one-offs, but for our close personal friends at SkyCity Hamilton, we'll do anything they ask. And for Andrew Castles down at Rapa, well, we like to help out because it's a big race day coming this Saturday. Butch, how are you, my friend?
Yeah, really good, Louis. Gee, that was impressive. George there, wasn't he? He was right into the old intro. I hope he's on top of his game on Saturday when the kids' carts are roaring in front of him. He's a huge fan of those. But yeah, looking forward to SkyCity Hamilton Waikato Cup Day. Really good field for the feature, the SkyCity Hamilton Waikato Cup. And I thought the other two black type races, the J Swap Sprint and the Kello Zuzu Stakes, were pretty competitive races as well.
You've got it bang on, and we're going to preview it all here for the next 40-odd minutes or so. And we have a plethora of guests to get through. Butch, we've got the races to get through, as you talked about. So Graham Rogerson's going to join us. Now, he's got a couple of real nice ones in this weekend. We've got Jamie Richards, who I caught up with earlier as well, because speaking of nice ones, it's all he seems to train these days. Prix de Feurs getting a run, Sauvignon Blanc in the Cup. And, of course, David Green, who won the Cup last year with Just Amaze, is coming back to defend his title. He'll join us shortly live into the program, and we'll pick his brain about what he's done to try and defend the title, the local lad. So it's a big show, and we're here for the next 40-odd minutes. So hang around, because we also have some money, some bets to give away. Butch, I want to ask you, though, this is your first year. This will be your first Waikato Cup as CEO of Te Rapa. What does it mean, and have you kind of managed to grasp the enormity of the occasion?
Yeah, look, it's the flagship race day for the club as far as black type racing goes. Look, the Legends Day in February, the two Group 1s, the BCD Group Sprint and the Herbie Dyke Stakes, along with a couple of Group 2s. But this is the day that the crowd comes to Te Rapa. This is the day that the Waikato Racing Club gets to showcase its wares in front of a large contingent of locals. And it's really important that we do that well, because it sets the scene for the rest of the year. We need to make sure that we've done everything we can to make those people that are coming along have an enjoyable experience. It's in a lot of ways like the Livermore Classic to Hawke's Bay and Hawke's Bay Racing. It's so important that day goes really well for them. And look, Darren Belcom and his team did a marvellous job in pulling together Livermore Day this day on the back of lockdown. And it's important, as I say, that we are able to entertain the people of the Waikato. We race again the week later, and if they have a good day this day, a lot of them will come back on the 19th. But equally, we need them to come back during the season and make sure that we are part of their dance card when they're looking for entertainment options.
I spoke to Jamie earlier, and I asked him, does it feel like Waikato and Te Rapa on this race day almost feels like the epicenter of the equine world? Because I know that, we love our racing industry in New Zealand. We've got a proud racing industry. But on a day like Saturday, where you get all of the stakeholders, all of the important people, all of the kind of Hamilton and wider Waikato, and even people from Auckland on track, do you think it's going to feel like a real kind of epicenter for, and kind of a really great gauge of how wide and diverse the industry is?
Yeah, and it should be that. You're right. It's in the heart of the thoroughbred industry, the major training centres in New Zealand, of course, Cambridge and Matamata, both in the Waikato, the breeding epicentre of New Zealand, Cambridge Stud, Waikato Stud, Windsor Park, down the road, Valachi Downs, any number of big studs in the region as well. So, look, it's really important that the people of the Waikato get an opportunity to go to the races and to see some of the wares of those players. And, yep, there's lots of people that will be here on Saturday, lots of different corporates have taken the opportunity. SkyCity see it as an important part of the things that they do through sporting and cultural support of the Waikato. So I think that, it is. And we race two Saturdays. They are two really good days, particularly the way the dates fall this year, the 12th and the 19th. Sometimes they can be the 23rd and 7 off that, the 16th. And that makes it a bit tricky, particularly for the second one. But when they fall as they have this year, the 12th and the 19th, they're both outstanding days to look to get people to the races. And whatever we do, the reality is we need to do what we can to get people to the races, to enjoy a day at the races, and from there it flows. There'll be people that come for the first time tomorrow that in 1, 2, 3 years' time are owners. There'll be people that come for the first time tomorrow that within that time frame are sponsors or take corporate hospitality, not necessarily here at Te Rapa, but somewhere across the country, somewhere within the industry. And that is absolutely vital to the long-term health.
So Boys Get Paid, who are kind of running this production with in coordination with SkyCity Hamilton and, of course, Te Rapa and the Waikato Racing Club. Look, we love a punt. That's what we're going to get into. So later on, we'll talk about that. We'll get Butch to give us good oil. He doesn't like to part with it. It's pretty hard to get off him, but we're going to do our best to twist his arm and try and give us some good stuff. For the administrative side of it that we probably don't think about a lot, I want to ask you, Andrew, SkyCity Hamilton, kind of a relationship and a partner like that, to partner your big day, your big cup. How important, more than ever post-COVID, is it to maintain those relationships? And how have Waikato Racing Club kind of gone on with the path of corporates and kind of making sure that you kind of stay on top of those relationships moving forward?
Yeah, it is crucial. Look, we were delighted when SkyCity Hamilton chose to continue, that the relationship was up for renewal after a contract term. So for them to continue with us was a huge tick in the box for the things that have been done in the past and what we were looking to deliver into the future. It was difficult from my perspective because a lot of the partnerships are very new. So in fact, I'm only meeting Michelle, who is really busy as CEO at Hamilton SkyCity this week, but have had a contact with Brett. Charlotte in our office has a great relationship with the team there, so able to leverage that. Meeting some of the other long-term supporters with COVID knocking out a fair chunk of early on in the year, but they've pretty much all stuck really solid with us. So I think it's that Christmas entertainment, that party. As I said, the dates are ideal, but ultimately people are choosing to spend their money as they see very wisely, and it's a precious commodity. They need to entertain people in a fashion that they're comfortable with, and that's why it's so important that along with our hospitality partners, Kieran Labrock, and tomorrow on Saturday, Montana Catering, that we get as much right in those areas as we can.
Yeah, it's awesome to hear, and it's so promising for the whole industry to hear that the clubs are on top of these things, and you can put on great days like we will see on Saturday. So, Butch, I don't want you to give your Waikato Cup selection yet, because we're going to save that to the end. I want people now in the comments to start commenting away who you think's going to win the cup. Go have a look at the field, drop us a comment, because Te Rapa have put up a $100 bet, and Boys Get Paid to put up a $100 bet. So we're going to get on that. We'll have somebody can take my bet. I'm going to give my selection at the end. Somebody can take Butch's, and you can take the winnings when they run the Quinella at the end. So start commenting on there. Butch, have you had a look at the field? Just give us a word on how strong it is and whether you think this could be a vintage cup.
Yeah, look, it's very even. Roger, that being at the top, obviously an Auckland Cup winner, he's had a bit of a influence on the weight scale. But I've been a Sauvignon Blanc fan for a long time. I think she's going to be awfully hard to beat. She gets in with just the 54.5 kilos, which would be totally different if Roger that wasn't in the race. So she's well advantaged there. But look, there's no reason why Justin Mays can't be awfully competitive. He's got the barrier draw to roll along somewhere near the lead, if not make all. And we saw how hard he was to get past when he was in the zone here last year. I know that it'll be very special to David, and we're going to talk to him about that shortly if he could get the job done. Yatima was really good last week, and she's a mare that I've always had plenty of time for. Tony Ridey, we talk about corporates, has been someone that's jumped on and supported us. I went and had a meeting with him not long after I'd been up here and asked him if he might get him behind us and help, and he's been fantastic in that, and he's got a crew of people here, so it'll be a bit of poetic justice for Tony and the team at Pack and Save Clarence Street if Yatima could get the job done for them Saturday. It is a really competitive race. It's great that there's 18 runners. This is what cup races are about: big fields, hard to sort out, handicap races. So that'll generate some really interesting betting and some betting moves, I would imagine, once those markets are up and about.
Oh yeah, there's going to be some sick exotics out there. There'll be some true degenerates out there getting some buzzy multiples. Probably like the bloke that hit that Melbourne Cup jackpot. I don't know if anybody had ever punted like that before, but if you have, if you felt inspired, this could be a good cup because there'll be some juicy odds. All right, let's keep moving.
It's Waikato's biggest Christmas party, and it's at Butcher's Place. Cheers, SkyCity Hamilton.
about to swing off the back in the Cup, and the pacemaker is Just a Maze, leads a length on Vinda Dance. Right there is Masetto, and then followed by Gorbachev in the centre. In the twinkling now 3 wide, then 2.5 away. Next is the leaders look to quicken up at the 600 metres is Lady Shabille from Dezella. Further back in the field then to Strolling Vagabond from then Excalibur. Well back also is as they come to the corner, Blue Breeze. Something's gone amiss here within a twinkling. This run off on the corner. Homeward bound at the 350 in the Cup. It's Just a Maze, the leader. Leads by 2 lengths here. From looking to run out after it, Masetto, Vinda Dance. Further back, Gorbachev and battling away, Dezella. It's still Just a Maze, the local. Leads a length and a half on Masetto. Then came Vinda Dance and Dezella. Just a Maze and Sash. One in the Cup, and the local gets the Cup. It'll be Just a Maze with a brilliant all-the-way win. Second over will be Masetto. Third at the line, as they went across the line, would have been Dezella from Vinda Dance, and then followed further back in the field by All Roads running on with Lady Shabille, Excalibur.
Well, that was last year, and an incredible victory. And the bloke that's trained the horses just jumped offline. I don't know where he's gone missing. David Green. That was some sort of ride and an incredible training performance. Going to the front, backing the horse, and it was a really, really solid effort. David Green, or Greeno, joins us now on the line. If we can get his internet working properly, here he is. David, afternoon. How you doing? Are you there, mate?
Good afternoon, everyone. Pleasure to be here.
Fantastic to have you. Hey, we just watched your replay back of last year, Just a Maze getting up. As a local lad, that would have been quite an incredible feeling, was it? Did you take 12 months to pinch yourself and work out if you're going to come back and target the same race? Or how was that, and how has that kind of sunk in over the time since? Got that Waikato connection.
It was a pretty big buzz, to be fair. Like the Cup day, I think for Hamilton sports people is just like a must on the calendar for the year. And oh Jesus, I don't know what's going on.
We might just cut David out there. He's battling that regional internet connection. That's probably hard luck. Butch, an incredible training performance nonetheless last year, though.
Yeah, the best laid plans of mice and men. Gee, we had a good connection early, didn't we? We were flying, and then something's happened. But yes, look, early after COVID, we decided here that we needed to put together something to keep the members engaged, and so we put together Te Rapa TV. And one of the very first, if not the first one we did, was with David Green, who trains over the back of the racecourse here at Te Rapa. And we talked about Just a Maze winning the Waikato Cup and how special that was to him. And he remembers Waikato Cup days from all the way back when he was a young lad to when he was at secondary school, getting here really early to secure a spot, all of those types of things. And for him to be able to do that was very, very special. And I know that he reflected on it, and he has put the horse in a position to look to reclaim the Cup and do it 2 years in a row. The county's run, I thought, was simply outstanding, from having to do tons of work and never getting a breather at all mid-race. And look, he never gave it away, just kept on whacking away and ran fourth. In my opinion, he's a little better off this way around, and gee, he's going to take some beating. Last year's winner getting in with 53.5 kilos. And the real key, I know it's 2,400 metres, long run, huge run to the first corner, but he can get there spending no petrol because he's drawn barrier 2. So he has to be well in the market, and he has to be very, very hard to beat.
Yeah, it's a shame that we just lost David just with some shoddy internet, because he was fired up, and it's a great story, a local lad winning the Cup. 752.60, the market is freshly minted, and Just a Maze has opened it. Really nice each way value. As you say, only carrying that 53.5. I mean, what a story that would be. I completely agree with the Counties Cup run. I think that had a lot of merit in it, and it was a really, really smart ride from Opie that kind of got him over the line first in that one, just sitting off the pace there and kind of stalking. There was a lot to like from that. The prices have just been opened in this race, and you wouldn't be surprised to see Savion Blanc open a short $2.90, $1.50. or would you, Butch? What about that price for Sauvignon Blanc? I know you're
I had
keen.
marked at about 2.5. Look, I just think she's a good thing. Look, she should have won the Counties Cup. She gets in here with no weight. She's 2,400 metres will suit her down to the ground. So $2.90, I don't think that'll hold up. I think she'll start shorter than that. And Justin Mays has got to be great each way shopping at the $7.50, $2.60 mark that you talked about. But look, you know, David is a proud Waikato guy, and yes, you're right. If he could win the race 2 years in a row, I know that they tend to have a little taste with the green team after Waikato Cup Day, and I'm sure that whatever they were drinking would taste extremely nice should he be able to knock off a second SkyCity Hamilton Waikato Cup in succession.
Let's have another crack. Let's have another crack. Let's see. We'll give it one more chance. The regional internet. David, have we got you?
Yeah, mate. We're back in action. We had a few beers last year after the Cup, to be fair, but I think we were buzzing so high I probably fell asleep while the rest of them carried on charging for the night at home. Yeah, if we if we could repeat the dose, that would be something. It would be something pretty special, mate. We'd enjoy that for sure.
Yeah, I don't know how long this is going to last, but we'll just ask you this, and we'll get the important stuff. If somebody wanted to have an each-way ticket on Justin Mays in this year's Cup, could they feel confident?
Yeah, absolutely. I think the start's the key for this horse, and we've done a lot of work since the Counties Cup on that. If he can jump with them, and he can get to the lead without killing himself too hard, then he's going to take a lot of running down for sure.
Beautiful, Greeno. We'll let you go, mate, because that internet is horrific, but that's all right. We've all been there. Thanks so much for your time, mate, and all the best. If anyone wants to have a bet on Justin Mays, there you go. The start is the key. Butch, Sauvignon Blanc, you priced 2.5. That's short. That's really short, but I kind of can see why. I caught up with Jamie Richards a little bit early on to ask how his horses were progressing and how he felt, because it's a strong team he's got coming. What does Te Akau mean to Te Rapa? They've obviously got a deep connection there, and they love to turn up on a big day and win, don't they?
Yeah, they do. Look, it's a special place for the principals of Te Akau Racing, David and Karen Ellis. And look, they are both ex-chairman of the club. David a wee while ago, and Karen Fendon Ellis has just finished as chairman of the Waikato Racing Club. So pretty special to them that way. It's also, to be fair, their local, if you like, major race course. Yes, they train at Matamata, but as far as Saturdays go and big race meetings go, certainly more of them here, and it is really only just up the road and down the road from the farm out there at Te Akau. So they have a permanent hospitality option here at Te Rapa. So it is a special place for them, and I know that when they can, they certainly support it with as many runners as they are able to. So look, they'd love nothing more than to win a SkyCity Hamilton Waikato Cup. I'm sure they've won plenty of big races here, and I haven't been back through the records, but maybe they've knocked off one of these. If they haven't, then I'm sure that a SkyCity Hamilton Waikato Cup would take a pretty pride of place with all those other trophies out there at Te Akau.
All right, well, let's find out. Caught up with Jamie Richards, Te Akau trainer, premiership leading trainer, not too long ago. All right, here we are with Te Akau's trainer, premiership leading trainer, Jamie Richards, because it's a huge day at Te Rapa on Saturday, the SkyCity Hamilton Waikato Cup, Jamie. It's an important race, and it's a big race in Te Akau. You guys seem to love Te Rapa for many a reason. Why is it so special for you, and why do you always love sending a big team there and winning so many of these black types?
Well, it's always been a really good course to us. Like Dave was chairman there, and Karen is the immediate ex-chairman, chairperson. So, you know, we've got a long history there. Te Akau have been great supporters of it, and some of our best friends and best supporters are, you know, highly, involved with the club. So we like to get along there and support them, and right through to the people that sponsor the races, to the administrators, to the board. It's a feel-good club for us, and something that we cherish doing is going along to Te Rapa.
It's obviously racing in the Waikato's, I mean, it's widespread. It's kind of the home of thoroughbred racing. Well, I'd say in the world. I mean, I'm sure lots of overseas entities would disagree with that. But Te Rapa almost feels like the hub. And when you get days like the Waikato Cup, where all of the good horses, all of the top trainers, all of the top jockeys arrive, does it really feel as a stakeholder like it is the centre of the racing universe at times?
Absolutely. This is the big meeting before Christmas, and then we go to Ellerslie at Christmas time. But Te Rapa on Gold Cup Day, with the Christmas functions and everything that's going on there with a huge on-course crowd is always very exciting, and something that we try and aim our horses toward.
Well, I reckon you've probably got as good a shot as any trainer to get your hands on that cup this year around. Sauvignon Blanc, she's a real star, and might not be her main goal this preparation, but on her ability, surely it's not too far out of the thinking that she can wind up and win this over 2400 on Saturday.
Yeah, this is the sort of race that we've been targeting her towards. Probably gave her a couple of runs in the spring there over distances that were short of her best, and she really stepped up to the plate last start in the Counties Cup. Just sort of got back off an awkward gate and got held up early in the run home, but her closing sectionals would have been as good as anything. And she goes into the race in really good shape. She's been quite fortunate that Roger, that's up the top of the book there, compressing the weights down. So compared to some of the horses that are rated below her, she does get in very well at the weights. She's drawn a bit of an awkward barrier, but we'd like to, try and take a little bit of bad luck out of the equation and be midfield, if not a little bit closer, all going well.
Well, you've taken the question out of my hands, Jamie, because that's what I wanted to know. Slightly wider gate, but I want to know how aggressive Danielle would be and whether you'd try and get her kind of close to midfield, and it sounds like that's what you're going to be doing. I want to know, though, Te Rapa and 2400, from a training perspective, is there anything specific that at this track over that trip you do, or is it just like any other 2400 trip?
Just like any other mile and a half race. I think the main ingredient when you're racing horses over these sort of distances is that they're fit. And she's done plenty of work, been in work a long while. Her form is building, and we're pleased with how she's going. So even though she's drawn slightly awkwardly, there's a nice run into the first corner there, and as we say, hopefully we can sort of sneak forward a little bit and be midfielder a little bit better, and give her a chance, because she's going to be I'd say she'll be a pretty warm favourite.
Yeah, well, for punters and for them, and I'm sure some of SkyCity Hamilton's customers too, she's a $4.50 favourite for the SkyCity of Auckland Cup. Are the plans definitely to take her there? Because that's pretty short. So you'd be hoping, if you'd had the futures, you've got a good indication that if things go well this weekend, that's her target from there. Yeah,
that's the plan. That's where she's going. 3 weeks suits her. So she'll be seen there on New Year's Day, mile and a half in the City of Auckland Cup, and then we'll just work it out from there. But obviously she is creeping up in the handicaps a little bit. So whether she ends up in a weight for age race at some stage during the rest of this season, I'm not sure. But I'd say that she is going to be weight for age at some stage throughout her career.
Well, the JSOP Sprint Handicap is also on the books. And look, as I say, it's a great field this weekend at Te Rapa. And the track was too wet for Pre-Defer at Trentham, which is good news for racing fans in the Waikato who get to see him line up. Gate 5 will give Opie plenty of options, Jamie. From a training perspective, what do you do in a week like this with him, where he's been primed for a mile race? Now he's coming back to 1400 after initially, as I say, being primed for that mile. Do you have to do anything specific, or how does that work?
Don't change too much around. Just keep things pretty short and pretty sharp with him. As you say, Louis, he was trained to sort of be going a mile last Saturday, but I think we made the right decision not to go down there, even though that track raced really well considering the rain that they had. It still was genuine soft, and I'm glad that hopefully we're going to be up here on a decent track over 1400. He worked over 1,000 on Tuesday morning in company and worked really sharp, and he'll do a little bit of 3/4 and sneak up the straight Thursday morning, and that'll be him ready. But he looks in good order. I guess the only question is the 1400 a little bit too sharp against the likes of Julius, some of those real up and comers, Mascarpone coming through. Burgundy Bell, who's got a lot of speed. There's a fair bit of depth to that race, but we do get in quite nicely at the weights with the likes of Julius, the Mitigator, and Dawn Patrol there. So it's going to be an interesting race. Look for him to be finding the line, and certainly keep an eye on him for next time.
Excellent stuff. Well, Brando lines up in a really nice 3-year-old race, the Dunstan Horse Feeds Premier as well. How's he going? Because punters were very keen on him early doors in his career.
Yeah, we like him. We gave him a little bit of a freshen up after he won his maiden at Te Araha. He's since trialled there, got held up a little bit, but hit the line really strongly. Very pleased with how he's progressing. He's drawn a nice low gate, but this is going to be a really good test for him. D La Tia gets in well under the set weights and penalties conditions of the race. So Brando's got a rating of 62. She's got a rating of 80, and she's only a kilo above us. So it's going to be a good test for him. He'll head to Ellerslie on Boxing Day after this for the 1400 meter race there on Boxing Day. The Shores 1400 meter race. So he's in good shape and ready to run a really nice race.
And as I say, it's a strong team. Anything else we can keep an eye on and look to be expecting to hit the line really nicely on SkyCity Hamilton Waikato Cup Day, Jamie?
Yeah, we like our 2-year-old. He's by Schnitzel, Dave brought him at the Gold Coast. He's drawn a nice low gate. His trials have been good. I'd be disappointed if he didn't run in the top 3. A couple of nice chances on the 4th and the 74-12, Burgundy Rose and Lilakoi, who are both going well. Lilakoi was a little bit disappointing at Hastings, but we just put a line through that because of the wet track. We've got some nice chances right throughout the card. Mai Tai didn't have all favours when she was 4th at Awapuni last time in race 6. She can turn her form around. Some nice chances, and anybody that's punting down the line, if there's a bit of juice in the track down there, we think that Get Hitched quite likes those soft track conditions and could be a nice chance in the 65-1200.
There you go, sort of state as that 2-year-old Jamie's talking about. Hey, all the best for the weekend, champion. Hopefully you can get your grubby mitts on that Waikato Cup and enjoy the day. It's going to be a huge one. All the best to you and Team Tiako, eh?
Thank you.
There you go, Jamie Richards catching up with myself earlier on. Butch, you've just taken a walk while that was playing out, and I noticed that Sauvignon Blanc has been plunged from $2.90 to $2.60. So have you just gone down to your local tab and stuck a few stacks on, have you?
Not me. Not me. All my people, they'll be disappointed. The 290's
that's
gone
fast, eh? I just had enough time to text Jamie and say, do you think the 2.9's a fair price? And he says, yes, 2.6. Well, if it goes that quick, I don't know what she's going to start. You don't usually see races over the 2,000 metres with horse starting odds on, but, they love this combination, Danielle Johnson and Jamie Richards, and for all the reasons you pointed out before, and then you hear Jamie talk about that, she's got all the ability in the world. You can kind of see where the money's coming, can't you?
Oh, she should have won the Counties Cup. Absolutely should have won the Counties Cup. And if she'd done that, she would have started 2.2. And she would have had another probably 1.5 kilos as well. So, I think she's a good thing.
Okay, there you go. Butch thinks it's a good thing. We like it when someone sticks their neck on the line. Remember, if you want a $100 bet, well, someone's getting $100 on the Sauvignon Blanc, and we'll try get it on. We'll try get it on before all the price has been nicked. Hey, and another good race. It is the J-Swap Sprint Handicap. And Mascarpone has opened at $8 and $2.80. And I've just got a little piece of that each way price. I think $8 is pretty generous. Again, just hearing Jamie, the way he kind of respects this up in colour. And we know that Graham Rogerson has a very, very strong opinion of this horse too. Graham loves his horses and he does like to declare a few. But this is no different, and he is very, very excited to see Mascarpone get a good go here. So without further ado, let's crack in. Graham Rogerson as we talk about the J-Swap Sprint here at Te Rapa on Saturday for SkyCity Hamilton Waikato Cup Day. All right, joining me now on the line as we preview the SkyCity Hamilton Waikato Cup Day, it is Graham Rogerson, who is, a legend, to be honest, Rogie. That's what you are. We'll call you what you are because you are one. And you've been to the Te Rapa racetrack many a time throughout the years, and you've had many a winner. And I want to know from you, first of all, before we get into some of your nice chances, how cool the atmosphere is on a big day at Te Rapa and the Waikato Racing Club when you get the big crowds on the big days like the SkyCity Hamilton Waikato Cup Day.
Oh, it is a big day, and it's a great track. And I think Saturday, I think the track will play real good.
Is that something that's forefront in your mind, how the track plays at Te Rapa? Is that something that you often think about, and does that come into where you place your horses?
I think so. I think the Te Rapa track is a great winter track, and it gets a little bit of rain on it, and it seems to improve it, which it did at the last meeting we had there. It was a lot better than everyone thought it would be.
So you don't have any horses in this year's Waikato Cup exactly, but you've got a strong army going to tackle some of the other races. Is it always kind of important for you to kind of get horses into these big days and try and get some of this black type? Is that where you really like to point your attention?
Well, at the end of the day, it's nice to have some nice horses, and I think we got a couple of nice horses that'll make the grade.
All right, let's talk about a couple of those then, Graham. De La Terre, the Soliloquy a couple of starts back at Te Rapa, she was just fantastic, wasn't she? And that was a fantastic ride from Ryan. And then in the Guineas, it just didn't quite go her way. Have you had a look at that and worked out what didn't quite work?
Well, she had 5.5 hours standing on the tarmac the day before at Auckland. And it just, I'm not sure whether she gets a mile or it was due to the fact that I think it took its toll on her. She came back from Christchurch. We gave her 10 days out in the paddock. And the work here this week has been very, very good. She may be a sprinter. She might not be a miler. So we'll run in the sprint on Saturday, and then we'll assess where we go from there with her.
Well, she's running in the Dunstan Horsefeeds Premier 1200, and although she's the top weight, she's only a kilogram heavier than some of her, I guess, other competitors. Brando and Mega Bourbon are both lining up as well. Do you expect Ryan to try and push her forward again like she did in the Soliloquy?
Oh, she'll go forward. She usually jumps good. And whether she sits outside the leader or leads, that's up to Ryan. He knows her now. I think she'll be very competitive in that race.
All right, excellent. Another great race on the card, and it's a Group 3, the J-Swap Sprint Handicap, $70,000. It's an open handicap race. This field, it's quite exceptional, isn't it, Graham? Julius, the Mitigator, Prix de Feu, and then, of course, Mascarpone.
Yeah, it is a good field, but I think he is a good horse in the making. He's certainly come a long way, and he's got a long way to go. But he has got the potential to be a good horse.
Tell us about him, because we watch him race, and he's got that big gangly stride, doesn't he? What's he like around the barn?
He's a sort of work in progress. He's not the easiest horse. Ryan and Michelle and Raul will be mudding that. They've done a great job on the horse, because you don't know what he's going to do next. He'll be going along, and next minute he'll decide to go the other way. But he's certainly, with the facilities we got, the aqua walker, the treadmill, and he always has a mate with him, and he's come a long way. And I'm not sure whether he's just a sprinter or whether he'll get further. It happened to be a nice race. It's not 1,200 meters. It's 14. So that'll decide what we do with him. I think he'll run very well, and especially if he gets a dry track. The only things he's not as good on a real wet track. Although he's competitive, he's a different horse on a dry track, and he certainly can gallop. I think if he does everything right and he gets the 14, he'll be very competitive, that's for sure.
So I see here Ryan Elliott is due to ride him again, and Ryan's got a huge opinion of this horse, I'm sure. But it says 53 in the book. Ryan wouldn't get that light, would he?
He's going to ride him at 54. He started wasting already, and he is one of the better jockeys at wasting. He does get his weight down, and for him, it was his choice. And I was surprised he's weighted on 53. I think it's going to be a big problem in the big races coming up to get jockeys to ride at 53. I think all bar 4 of them in the race are on 53. So to him to ride him at 54, I think is a great achievement on Ryan's behalf. But I don't think the horse will be weighted at 53. And his summer program, I think, that telegraphs his main aim. Whether we go to Australia with him for the races, the Newmarket and the Oakley Plate and that in Melbourne, we will depend on what happens up after the Telegraph. But I think he's up there with the very best sprinters. And whether we go to the Railway, he's not quite as good at right-handed, but he is getting better. So whether we have a go at it, it's still up in the air at this stage.
Well, it's exciting times, isn't it, with a horse this talented, and you're kind of waiting to see how he performs to then make the next call. You've seen lots of these talented gallopers throughout the year, haven't you, Graham? How do you kind of appraise the squad you have at the moment? Do you feel like Team Rogerson's got some nice equine flesh?
Well, I think Mascarpone, I think I won the first $1 million sprint in Australasia with a horse called Brenlane, and I think it was 83. It was $1 million, the Stradbroke. And I think this horse has got as much potential as him. And put it this way, the sky's the limit. I think if he puts it all together, and I think that's the main thing with him, he'll certainly, he's a Group 1 horse in waiting.
Wow, big rap, Rogie. And look, thanks for your time today as we preview a massive day racing on Saturday. Will you make it up to Rapa and give Butch a hard time on track?
Oh, yeah. He's learning. He's a young bloke that's destined to go to the top. He's probably going to call on me for a bit of advice. But being so young, he's got a future, I think.
Graham Rogerson, trainer of Mascarpone and dealer tier. Thank you for your time today, and all the best on Saturday. I hope you go really well. What a pleasure talking to the great man. Butch, you don't have to disclose your age, but being called a young man by Graham Rogerson, is that one of the great compliments of your life?
Well, compared to Graham, I am young. I'm not so sure that I'm young in the greater scheme of things. But he's a beauty, is Rogie. Look, I've got to know Graham a fair bit over, in particular, the last 4 or 5 years on the Gisborne-Warrell circuit. And he's an incredible supporter of that circuit and has been for a long time. And it wouldn't have survived the Gisborne races. They're not racing there anymore at Poverty Bay, but it wouldn't have survived the last few years without his support, and probably the same with Warrell as well. But I have been out to Tui Karamea of a morning since I've been here in the Waikato, and caught up with Graham, Debbie and the team there. It's an amazing complex there at Tui Karamea, and you can see, look, he trained goodness knows how many winners and won a premiership one year, basically off, I think it's a 900 and something metre track around there where they do a lot of the work, and he's got a bigger track now, but back then when he won a premiership, he won it off that small tight track that they have in the centre of the complex. And look, he's an incredible horseman, and look, I ring him for advice most weeks.
Oh, it's awesome to hear, and it's great that you can have mentors as well. But hey, Mascarpone though, or Mascarpone, that big action. Gee, he's a funny horse to watch, but he eats up the ground. And look, as you've just heard Rogie there, he's got a huge wrap on him. $8.280. Look, personally, I think you could do worse than that $2.80 a place as an each way bet. This race, the J Swap Sprint Handicap, it's a Group 3 over 1,400 metres worth $70,000 on SkyCity Hamilton Waikato Cup Day. Who would your top selection be, Butch, or have you been able to work out which way this race might fall?
Yeah, tough race. Look, it's not new, this wrap that Graham's got on Mascarpone either. That day I went to Tui Karamea, it'd be 3 months ago, and he was there, the big upstanding horse that he is, and he pointed him out. He said he's a very, very good horse, this horse. He'll be a Group 1 horse. And that was before this preparation. So, look, he's long held a massive opinion of him. Clearly Ryan does as well, because he just wouldn't be committing to riding the horse so light if he didn't. And did my picks for the race book pretty quickly. The time frames, deadlines are quite tight, and I went with Prix de Fer just on top over Mascarpone and Julius. I thought it was a really, really competitive race, though. The mitigated Dawn Patrol got to be chances. Coventina Bay, if she'd had the brakes the last time, she would have got a lot closer to Mascarpone than she did. So she's got to be a chance off the minimum. But it is a really, really good renewal of the J Swap Sprint.
It is, and the Kala Zuzu Stakes. It's just the field. I'm not just blowing smoke up, yes, big man. I honestly think these fields are some of the better fields we've had racing this season. So if I look at the race for the mares, the Kala Zuzu Stakes. Now this is an incredible group too, where you've got Superior at the top of the book, opened at $2.70, $1.40. Fiscal Fantasies there or thereabouts. Supreme Heights, Cinerama, Crafty Jess, Lee Castile, Pin Me Down. Alaloon, another one of Roger's. It's a real competitive race. And I know a lot of people are going to be looking at Superior and saying, yeah, she just didn't quite get it right last time at Counties, got a bit far off them in the Dunstan feeds, Breeders' Stakes. But I would forgive her if I didn't have really strong opinions about Cinerama coming into this race. Opie goes on board. She sits at $6.50, $2.40, and I really like that as each way value. So I went back and watched her last few races, Andrew, and she's fallen out of the gates in 3 of her last 3 races. So every time she's missed the start. But last start in the Gartshaw Tauranga Stakes, she managed to pick up, and it was a really good ride in the end by, I think it was Sean Mackay, who managed to clip heels, and she finished over top of them, running a really nice second. Now, who won that race? It was Concert Hall. That form has well and truly been franked. It ran a fantastic race in the Group 1 Captain Cook Stakes down at Trentham. I think if Cinerama jumps cleanly from barrier 2, Opie Bosson is the perfect jockey to make that happen and position her. And I think she'll be in a finish with Superior. And I think that $6.50, $2.40 for me might be, as far as the early markets, one of my favourite bets.
Yeah, look, Superior, she's in foal. She's getting towards the end of her racing career. She's got a great record here at Te Rapa, which is a big trick. She's had 3 starts for 2 wins and a placing. She gets up to the mile. That's her best distance. She's won 4 of her 8 starts at the mile. She's drawn 5. Everything's for her. The big crowd, whilst there is a massive crowd here on Saturday, a lot of it's the city side of the grandstand, so out the front and down that way. Now, at the mile, they don't need to go down there, so they'll go out the gate and round to the mile start, because the big trick with her is she can run her race before the race. So if she can get round there semi-settled and get round to the start in that sort of order, then I think she'll be extremely hard to beat, and she is the class horse of the race. But Cinerama, yes, Owen Patrick Bosson will make a difference. Drawn barrier 2. Alan's been frustrated with the way that she's been missing the kick. It was explainable with the blinkers on first time at Hawera, but she has been average the last 2. No doubt he's worked on that in the interim. And look, if Opie can posse her up somewhere near the speed, she's going to be pretty hard to beat. I did single it out 1 and 5, and I just think Superior's class in a set weight race might tell him the finish.
Yeah, if mug punters like myself have worked out that she's missing the kick, I am certain that Mr. Sharrock will be locked in making sure that he doesn't let that happen again. All right, this has been an excellent time, and we've had a lot of fun here with SkyCity Hamilton promoting the Waikato Cup, which is this weekend. I hope everybody gets out and gets onto the track and has a bet. Butch, shock horror, you're going with Sauvignon Blanc, right?
Absolutely gilt-edged. I'm locked into her. I think, as I say, I think she's almost a good thing in the feature race. It is an 18-horse race. There's no such thing as a certainty in racing, but gee whiz, she's going to take some beating. I really love her. Have for a long time. She's by the right sire in Savabeel. She's the right cross out of a Pins mare, and she will be awfully hard to beat.
Okay, well, there you go. We can't both take Sauvignon Blanc, so somebody who has commented that they think Sauvignon Blanc will win this race will be getting a $100 free bet, courtesy of Te Rapa. I'm going to take Justin Mays. I want to see Justin Mays for David Green and Andrew Call to go back-to-back in this race. David, unfortunately, the internet just didn't pan out, so we couldn't hear what he had to say, but he said that she was in good order. We did hear that. So I'm going to go on Justin Mays. If anybody agrees with me has commentated that they reckon Justin Mays is going to win this race, we'll get a bet on, courtesy of Boys Get Paid, worth $100 for you too. Thank you, Andrew. Thank you, Andrew, for joining us for this kind of impromptu. Well, it's not an impromptu, but this one-off Waikato Cup show, courtesy of SkyCity Hamilton. It's been fun, hasn't it?
Yeah, it has been good work from you guys organising the interviews, the technology. All I've had to do is sit here and talk, and I don't find that overly difficult. So, look, well done to the Boys Get Paid team, and a nod to everything that you guys do. It's a fantastic movement that you've got. It's wonderful, all of the support that you give racing. And if you actually drill it down, without a lot of media stuff that you're doing, we'd be in a bit of a vacuum at the moment. So well done to you, Louis. You're doing a great job. Keep it up. Thanks for agreeing to pull this together with SkyCity Hamilton. I know that they were delighted that you were in a position to do it, and we'll look forward to seeing some of your team, the BGP team, here on Saturday.
100%. Get down on track. Make yourself known. Go get Butch to buy you a beer. SkyCity Hamilton, after the races, maybe get down and go visit them. They want you on track. They want you on track. Well, it's not a track, but they want you in their venue. Go support them. They've supported us and this great race. The Waikato Cup, the SkyCity Hamilton Waikato Cup 2020. How good's it going to be? It's Christmas. It's Waikato's biggest Christmas party. It's at Butch's place. Go turn up, people. Go make a mess of yourselves. Enjoy. That's us done and dusted.
Good on you.